Love finding all the cars, the trucks. I had Tonkas left and right when I was a kid, so really love this. There's some Buddy Al, all sorts of different ones mixed in here. One of the better assortments here, there's a Mark's truck there as well. Lots of vintage tin, some of it's plastic, but most of the tin ones are what you really want. Here's a very expensive table when you look across about all the different varieties and versions this gentleman has. These are the plastic cabs with the rest of it. Some Tonka mixed in here as well, which I love seeing. Tonka's pretty cool. Now this again is the Springfield, Ohio flea market. This is a massive one. It's in the top 10 in the country for size. I'm really looking for small stuff, so the small stuff is what I want to find. The magazine comic book books aren't so bad. I just don't want to have to carry them. Comic book wise, most of these are Dell 4-color series. There's some singles like the Three Stooges, there's Zorro, lots of Western ones. Just not high value ones. Everybody wants the superhero or sci-fi these days. Western is kind of going out as a fad. Obviously there's still a ton of Western collectors, but not anywhere near to draw the value of the superhero sci-fi ones. I usually look through them all, though you never know. It only takes one good comic book to make some good money on it. I love the bins like these here. All the booths that have these bins for 50-cent items, dollar items, I look through every one. A lot of the items we're going to show you today came from bins just like what you're seeing here at this exact same place. So I love looking through those. I love the box lids with all the doodads thrown in there. Boy Scout stuff like these earlier ones here. Some of these, if you get the right patches, can go for hundreds of dollars. There's a few patches that can go for even more than that in the $1,000 range. Looks like the rain caught you off guard today.
Well, I was prepared for it, but not for raining all night long.
Yeah, I was worried they'd cancel it or who knows what if it was raining or half the people wouldn't be here. Never fails. This one had a bunch of early spotlights, car pieces and parts. All that stuff sells and does very well. Also, again, they're large and heavy, and I'm just not interested in carrying that kind of stuff around. So we're going to look at a few of the items that we picked up at that flea market. Mostly cheap stuff. Small stuff, stuff that fit in one single bag, something I didn't have to carry around. A lot of the items that I could have purchased to make some money on were just large, and I just didn't want to take several trips back to the car. It was a massive place. Would have taken 15 minutes or more probably to walk back to the car just to find it. So anyway, off we go. Let's look at some of those items. So this was all $4. They had 5 on it. I got it for 4. And these are all, if I can pick them all up, let me back up just a little bit. These are all Cracker Jack prizes. These came in Cracker Jacks. They date to the 1920s maybe from this like soda shop one here. It's, I guess, a float with 2 straws or a straw and a spoon. One of the better ones in here, there's a ray gun in here somewhere, wherever it went to. The fish isn't bad. There's the ray gun. I usually get like $12 for that one right there. The sports, there's a couple sports in here. I can usually get about $5 to $6 a piece if I want to let them sit. The $4 I have into this, I can just go ahead and sell a couple of them individually. I'll more than triple my money back, and then the rest will go in lots of 5 for $9.99 for 5 of them. I'll probably put them up as a list price of like $14.99 or something like that and end up selling them for $9.99. Again, $2 or so a piece on these. Now these here were all $1 a piece. This is from a bin, well, a couple of different bins. And everything in the bin was $1 each. It was just stuff that was just thrown in there. Now this one here I thought was rather interesting, and what the most important part about this is this doesn't belong on here. This is actually a pocket watch chain, and it's gold filled. Now I've had, geez, a couple dozen or more of these in the past year or two. They do sell. There'll be something that'll set for a little while, but then somebody will come along and probably buy all the ones I got. They'll buff them up, they'll retool them or whatever they need to do with them, and they will sell these with a vintage pocket watch. Seen it many, 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 many times. There is a marking on the clasp here, and I don't think it's possible to see it, but there's one on the inside in there. But so it is a vintage one. This one probably dates to about 1910-ish. Maybe before. This probably could be in the Victorian era. It is early, 1920s or so, or before. So it's a decent item. Again, it was $1, which included this piece here. Now, this is probably 1940s or 50s. It's very solid. It's not some cheap piece. It weighs at least an ounce or better, and for something like that, this is pretty darn good. It's not bendable, so it's not like cheap metal. It's cast of some sort, and then it was gold-plated. Something like this, because of the age, it shows, I would gather, probably Cleopatra, maybe. It's definitely Egyptian all the way around. I'm literally going to put at least $34.50 on this piece here. I love these earlier pieces. Let's move out the background so you can kind of see how filigree it is. It's a nice piece. I really love this piece, honestly. Now, I also got this. I'm not 100% sure this is a vintage token or not by the edge. It could be a modern reproduction. It does have wear to it, and it does look like the wear is into the metal itself. I've tried to look at this very closely with a very powerful loupe. Either way, this should at least get me, say, $40 or better. Possibly a little higher than that. Now, I'll be able to track down, I'm guessing maybe Spain. I'm not really sure. Marie Anna Augusta Ferdinandi. I'm not really sure on the terminology, but I'm sure without a doubt I'll be able to track down what this is. I'm sure I'll sell it for, as is, for at least $40. I've sold some just like this with the same border, same everything, in the 70, 75 range in the past. So I always nab these up, especially for $1. Now, these I've had 2 or 3 of, and I instantly knew what it was. There's a driving kit, and it would come with, like, expensive cars, maybe a BMW or something back in the 60s or so, maybe even earlier than that, probably 50s, 60s. And this is a folding pair of scissors, and it would have come in that kit, so you could have actually sewn, and there's other stuff in the kit too, but these go for at least $10 to $14 on average, plus shipping. Again, I've had these before. Nothing super spectacular, but for $1, it's well worth it. It will sell. I'll come back with $8 to $10 profit probably at the end of the day on this one. So it's a pretty good item too. Now this one, I've had similar ones. Sometimes they're with like a silver dollar, a $50 or something. This is a Native American Indian head nickel from 1930. And it is a real coin from all I can see. It has the wear, the look. I'm sure it is. This probably dates to the 40s or 50s. It's a money clip, which I thought was pretty cool. I do very well with money clips. Being that it's a vintage one with a vintage coin on it, I'm thinking I'll probably get $30 to $50 out of it, somewhere in that range. I'm going to put it up for at least $57.50 and just see what happens. Now this one, I've had, geez, dozens and dozens of these 3-tine forks. This would date to the Civil War without any doubt whatsoever. Let's see if you can see the look of the metal. That's what's important, that look, that age, the spotting that it has. That comes from age. It's got a very nice patina. You wouldn't want to clean this off at all. Now, I usually get 15 to, say, $27.50 on these each. It's the right size. It would have been able to be put in a mess kit or something. This goes back to the Civil War, this piece here, without a doubt. It's an early one for sure. Looks like it maybe even was hand-cut, handmade. You can see it's got some age. The wood has dried up. It's got some cracking on the base. That just tells me it is old without a doubt. Now, these were all in a 50-cent bin. So everything was 50 cents. Each one of these dice was 50 cents. This miniature spark plug was 50 cents. Let's zoom in here so you can see it a little better. And then I got some pins for 50 cents each. And this one's marked 10 karat gold here. It's on the back. It's underneath the actual hook there. It's really tiny, but it is there. It's not a big heavy piece or anything else like that. It's only 10 karat gold. It's worth probably at least 30 or 40 bucks in gold value, I would gather. You should be able to tell just by looking at it. It's a real nice looking piece. These little miniature spark plugs, I usually get 15 to 22 bucks. You've seen me. I've sold a ton of these. I've had dozens and dozens of these. I pick up every single one I can get. People make earrings and pendants and charms out of them because it's basically it looks like a real spark plug. So anyway, that one's pretty cool. I've had 2 or 3 of these too. This is a home front mother or girlfriend pin, sweetheart pin, U.S. Air Corps. This is before the U.S. Air Force, and these were pretty common. You could get them all over the place, at 5 a dime and place like that. Probably from about 1941 through 44 or 45. You can tell by the construction it's early. This one has some marking on the actual clasp part there. I'll have to get a loop out, but that's not uncommon. It's in excellent condition. The gilt, the gold is very nice. Last one, I want to say I got like $22.50 for it. Probably put it up for $34.50. It's original, no doubt whatsoever. It's a nice piece. Girl Scout pin here. And now this, I don't remember the name of this one, but it's not the most common one. This one goes for about 12 bucks or so. Maybe it's a scout leader or something along that line. I don't think it's a normal scout pin that you would get as a Girl Scout, but either way, it's in excellent condition. I've had a couple of these. I have some other Girl Scout pins, so I may just throw it together in a lot too. For 50 cents, it was well worth it. Here's an Avon calling pin. I get 8 to 12 bucks for these. It needs to be buffed up a little bit there. The center plate right there is made of a different metal than the rest of it, and it will buff up. This moves, the whole works. Now, some of these pins, some of the earlier Avon pins were made out of 10 karat gold, so I always examine these extremely closely. Now, these were pretty cool. I love vintage dice. I've had dozens and dozens of them. I always grab them up. Now, these are early, very early bone ones. They're made out of bone without a doubt. You can see the markings, the grooves in it. Cowbone would be my personal guess by the looks of them. Excellent condition otherwise. They've been worn, they've been used, they've rattled on a table for a very long time. 50 cents a piece. I'll sell them in sets of 2. I'll put them in the Civil War section. That's about when these would date from. If you want to know if these are bone or just resin or cheap plastic, take a hot needle, and if the needle goes into it, it's resin or plastic or something. A bone, that will not happen. A hot needle won't sink into it and melt it. So that's the way I tell if these are good or not. There are some other substances, but these are without a doubt bone. So on average, a set of these $34.50 is what I list them for, and then I just take whatever, 20, 24 bucks. Now, the last thing I got was a lot of buttons. Now, these were on cards. There was a whole bunch of cards I had to look through to get these out. There were some cards with just numbers on them, some with just crowns. Now, some of these were misidentified when I saw them. That's what I see a lot. This was marked as a Russian one, but it's not a Russian. These are all early German, Austrian, all from that area. Now, some of these would be standard German, like these crowns. These would date to about World War I or before, and I've got a few of them. In this nice a condition, some of these are marked on the back. This one is marked. There's a maker's mark right down in the bottom. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but there is a maker's mark in there. Most of these 8 to 12 bucks or better on these, and I've got 3 of those. Yeah, 3 of those. Now, the numbered ones you see in here, and it's lucky there's like a run of them. They don't go together. They're kind of different, but I've got a 3, 4, 5, and a 9 in here. And these are regimental buttons. Prussian would be a good term to use for these here, as well as these over here also. I've got 50 cents a piece into these. To them, they weren't much. There was tons of other numbered buttons, including a bunch that just weren't anything or were Spanish, Spanish-American War era. They're dime a dozen if you go to enough shows. But these are original, and these, let's see if we can't. The backs are almost as nice looking as the fronts. And let's get it where you can See it. Sometimes there's lions at the top like you see there. Again, these are regimental buttons. This one dates way, 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 way back. Extra fine is what it says in German. And that's the condition, the quality of it. This one here I should get, geez, $57.50 to $75, as I should for any of these other regimental ones. Anybody who knows buttons or is into these is going to know what they are without a doubt right off the bat. The maker, the markings on the back are what dictates the value on these, and the origin basically as well too. Now this is an early one, 1890s or so. Again, the same general area. Really nice ones. 3rd Regiment, 5th Regiment. This is like a Austrian seal, I think, or crest of some sort. It's like a regimental, I would imagine, governmental army. Most all of these are going to be like $57.50 or better. Now this I've had quite a few. This is an Austrian artillery officer's button, if I'm not mistaken. Now the back says superior, super quality, basically. It's a quality mark again. Nicely stamped out. Very nice large size button as well. $18 or so I would probably get on that one. Here's a German Navy, Austrian Navy one here. Again, same time from 1890s through about World War I. Price-wise, this one would probably get me around $34.50 to $57.50. Now, this one's like a city seal, and there is some wording down there. I'll have to get my loupe out, but it has an attached face. The deer on the front, the crest itself, is attached to a plain back button. It's how it was made. That's exactly how it should be. Same time from 1890s, 1910-ish, no later than World War I. Even though this is a small one, I would still probably get around $40-45. And this is a World War I Austrian Air Force button, I would gather, by the looks of it. It's a really interesting button, nice winged. I have not seen one of these before. It's definitely from that time frame. It's got a really nice back mark on it. It might be a little hard to see, but it's... I don't know if that's supposed to be floating hearts or a vine with leaves would be more along the lines. Austria vine, I guess, would be where this one came from, maybe by the design, but really nice piece. These are just a few of the items that we picked up at the huge, massive flea market. This is going to make us a lot of money as well. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Now feel the power of the G.I. Joe Thunderclap.
Thunderclap is setting a trap.
2 incredible Cobra smashing attack vehicles, towing 1 monster gun.
Nobody beats G.I. Joe.
Thunderclap comes with driver.
Yo, Joe!